Hey guys, Nick here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the viltrox 24mm f1.8 prime lens for the Sony E-mount camera system. Now, we're not going to do a super technical review. There are definitely better ones out there, and I'll leave one linked above if you want to see like the real technical aspect of this lens. I'm just going to be talking to you guys about, I guess, like the usability of this lens, and I guess coming from it from sort of like a budget mindset. You know, this is a budget lens, and so I'll keep that in mind, that the people buying this are probably have that in mind, right? So just a quick shout out. So viltrox did send this lens out to me to do a review on, but they don't have to check the video or anything like that, so I'm just gonna say what I want. So we are filming on it right now. That's why I keep pointing at the camera, so you can sort of see how it works. Everything's sort of set to auto. It's at f1.8, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, like it's a pretty good lens. 24mm is probably like my favorite focal length. If I was just sort of have like one prime lens, 24mm is pretty much where I would be. I think it's wide enough that you can get good landscape shots, and you can still do decent sort of street photography. It's probably a bit too wide for portraiture, but yeah, 24mm is definitely my favorite focal length. Now, I did a bit of market research, and this is actually the cheapest 24mm prime lens that you can get for the Sony E-mount system that has like autofocus and all that built in. There are a few others out there that might be a little cheaper, but they don't have that f1.8 aperture, which is going to be really good for low light scenarios, especially if you're going to do like astrophotography, or if for some reason you want to get like a nice blurry background. Although with a wide angle lens like this, it's not something you're going to really get a lot of. So this lens only costs $429. So it is pretty cheap for lenses, right? And if you have the Sony E-mount system and you're looking for a prime, it's a pretty good bet. The benefits of this lens are the fact that it is a full metal construction, so it actually feels super high quality. It has a really nice declicked aperture ring, so you can literally, I'll do it here, you can sort of turn the aperture down and nice and smoothly adjust the aperture whilst you're filming, which is great for videographers. I personally would like if they had like a declick option, because when you're taking photos, it's nice to have a clicked aperture, and I do find that I bump it a fair bit, but you can twist it all the way around to auto and lock it in, and then you don't have to worry about it on the lens at all. And then you have your normal focus ring at the front, and it's just standard sort of focus ring. It's fly-by-wire, which means it's non-linear, right? You can just sort of just keep turning and turning and turning it. So straight off the bat there, $429 for an f1.8 24mm prime lens with an all-metal construction, with autofocus that works pretty well, especially when you're sort of this distance from the camera. Like, bargain. Like, this is fantastic if this is what you're planning on getting. I do want to talk to you a few things I don't like about the lens. Number one, and the biggest thing I'm not a fan of, is the fact that it has no weather sealing inbuilt into this lens, or at least there's no gasket around the lens mount. Might not be a big deal for everyone, and for this sort of price point, it's not something I expected. But when you live in Canada where it's either snowing or raining, or like, it's just, you know, there's a lot going on here. And so it would be nice to have that weather sealing and that peace of mind. So there is that. But again, price point is whatever, it is what it is. Now, the focusing, like I said, is quick, and you do get eye autofocus and all that sort of stuff. And in most scenarios, I think it works really well. Where it doesn't work too well is if you're trying to get a little closer to your subject. Now, this lens can focus as close as 30 centimeters, which is pretty good. It is a wide angle lens though, so 30 centimeters isn't, you're not really gonna get any sort of macro shots here. The Tamron 28-75, which I had before, focused in at 19 centimeters, and it was a tighter focal length, and so you definitely got better macro light capabilities from that lens. But yeah, when you're doing that sort of closer focusing, that 30 centimeters, you know, really close to the lens, it definitely struggles. Like if I move my hand there and away, you can see it does take a little bit to sort of shift focus, but it's pretty good. And a 24mm, you're probably gonna use it to film yourself like this, or go out and shoot like landscape and street photography, in which case it's perfectly fine. It fits really well on the Sony Alpha bodies. Like, it's just a nice compact lens. It's just over 300 grams, so it's nice and light. It feels really well balanced. And honestly, like, the biggest gripe I have about it is the gasket. Other than that, like, it's a really good lens. Oh, one other thing, you might notice, like, it might be kind of hard here. And maybe I'll just throw a photo of a nice white wall up here. There is pretty strong vignetting with this lens. This is pretty standard with wide angle lenses, and as you sort of stop down to like f5.6, it sort of slowly goes away. I find with cheaper lenses, you get more vignetting. It's just sort of part and parcel. It's not bad. In photos, it's very easily fixed. In videos though, you can sort of see it here in that top corner that it is, there is vignetting. So keep that in mind. But yeah, pretty good little budget lens. Like honestly, like I always keep an eye out, you don't always have to go and spend $1,500, $2,000 on a really good prime lens. If you can get one under $1,000, that does the job. And as a 24mm, this one does the job. f1.8 is great. The only thing I don't like is the weather sealing, but that's fine. And I'll just make sure I won't go out in a deluge and get it soaking wet, So yeah, if you want to check it out, guys, it is linked down below. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, non-technical review, pretty great prime lens, pretty cheap. You should check it out. Anyway, guys, until the next video, see ya.